In fact, what gave me to leave my nursing, I saw gold was benefiting me more than even nursing. Because when I come here, I get a lot. There is a day when I came here, in fact, I got 250 one visit.
Wemba afunye point 5, aomba afunye ko sente zange. Kati sente zo wemba afunye. Sobola kunyamba nnyo. Engula ko kyokulya, abaana bange ne bafuna okola ki? Okulyako.
Stick to Kampala. Safety of the white people.
Mugamba nkubire anyame ndola gero bugubira kati kisinga budiringa na mutu gatama.
If you listen close enough, you can still hear the cocks crowing over the rising sun of Tida, a small village in the border town of Busia. Here, men are readying themselves to extract one of the world's most precious minerals, but their mine looks far from the impression that gold is associated with. This mine is one of the few legal mines in eastern Uganda, and one of the few mines registered to carry out artisanal mining in the country. With high levels of unemployment and biting edges of poverty, many of the people in this small community look to mining as a source of livelihood. Wafula Joseph, the chief miner here, has been at it for over 10 years.
Okay, we have been working locally, mining locally, but we have been harvesting little. So, with that little of harvesting we used to educate our children through that.
Every morning, he leads his miners down a 60-foot drilled hole in the search for the precious mineral. Getting it out is no mean feat. Once down, the miners scrape the ground and send up buckets of dirt like this one. This morning, 16-year-old Wesonga is among the miners. He is to ferry the dug-up ore to the site where it is washed, and in return, he gets a share of the ore to wash and search for the gold himself. He is about to get lucky, and part of his ore has washed up a tiny piece of the metal. But it is here that the ugly nature of the mineral trade lowers its head. A middleman has arrived at this mine for his regular gold check. His job is to buy the mined pieces from the artisanal miners. Nobody but him sets the terms, and what you're about to see is a gold sale in a typical artisanal mine. First, a gas lighter is used to burn the small piece into its golden brown color.
You have a resort, you close it, you put the amalgam, you close it, then you burn. It has got a wire which has got a hole, so the mercury goes through that wire to the glass. That's what we have been doing. But the middlemen, that's their work.
Then he pulls out a measuring scale from within his pocket.
Bada!
Then it is placed in a basin and switched on, and the miners are cautious and warned. The small machine with a blue light runs a tally and picks a 0.17 gram. The middleman suggests that he will pay for only 0.16 grams, and the haggle barely stands due to the poverty. Soon, a 10,000 shillings note is picked from his pocket, from which Wesonga will take home just 6,000 shillings. The other money is for rent and middleman fees. Middlemen like him do on-the-spot buys from artisanal gold miners every day, and with little to no evidence of record keeping, the government is unable to levy a tax on them. That job gets harder at mines like this one, an illegal one run at the back of a house and employing children. Once the miners here have found the gold, a call is made to the middleman, who comes to complete the sale. The loose nature of trade in gold raises very stern questions on the seriousness that government has deployed in investing in and taxing the trade. But history serves a very bad reputation of government's efforts. In 2014, while on a quest to understand how the war in the DRC was being funded, a UN group of experts authored report had this to say about the Ugandan government commitment to fighting illegal gold trade. A trade that would earn the government more money in tax revenue had it been organized. In seeking to understand how gold mined by artisanal miners is traded, we started with the mines themselves. Under this sweltering heat, both men and women hammer away in search of the ore from which the gold is mined. They are part of a legally sanctioned mine with a license, but after they discover gold, many of them tell us they sell it individually, leaving no trace of the gold on the books of the mine.
Tirankoze nnyo myaka nyingi ku gold. Naye wemba nfuna amayinja gange ku gold. Tugenda ne tutwala ku machine ne bassa, okumala okusa tutwala ku mazzi, tuteekamu masire ne tutandika okukola ki? Okwoza. Bwe tumaze okwoza, tutwala akatambaala ne tukamula gold. Bwe tuba tumaze okukamula, tutwala ku gas ne bayokya. Kati okumala okwokya ne batwala wali ku dikito ne bapima. Tufunye dikito meka. Wemba afunye 5, awo mba afunyeko sente zange. Kati sente ezo wemba afunye kisobola kunyamba nnyo. Nengulako ekyokulya, abaana bange ne bafuna okukola ki? Okulyako.
What gave me to leave my nursing, I saw gold was benefiting me more than even nursing. Because when I come here, I get a lot. There is a day when I came here, in fact, I got 250, one basin. So it helped me to pay school fees for my child, who was in phase 7, and even renting the land where I dig.
Neko oba mitwalo ebiri, mutwalo tera saving. Kati eyo ku saving kinyamba nnyo. Wa savings sente zange. Myezi ebiri oba mukaaga we ziba zigweddeyo, tola sente zange nengula ku sengula.
If it is being paying taxes, it will not come because the little they get in fact something little, and they don't do it every day. Sometimes they come and they go and dig. When you come back when you are tired, you cannot come here.
Kuba tufuna okufuna kuli tono. Kati weba tuze wano ku gold. Natu tuba tufuna funako kasende.
So that came with the formalization. They were actually, some of them were refusing to participate in formalization. But now we have 4 registered at the district and at the sub-county. But they would tell us that we don't want to be taxed. They are not scared of paying the taxation, but they are now interested in production, improving their means of production. If they can produce well, if they are supported to produce, then they'll be able to pay taxation.
Shuka nayo muonyeshe. Unamfuata anavyofanya step by step, step by step. Yeah. Kilo kina manawaji. Omukwa mhoshe ngoko emwe. Angwa
Ona kanyaga huku na huku.
Ona. Shoka inakuja. Shoka. Shusha.
Omaze?
Shusha marefu.
After being as deep as 60 feet underground here to get the precious mineral called gold, Miners here argue it makes no sense for them to pay taxes in a place where government hasn't invested.
The work I'm doing, just I work with mining. I always buy gold. That's my work.
This middleman, who was accepted to speak to us on condition that we blur his identity, says he buys from them.
I always buy gold. That's my work. And buy then get some profit. That's when encourages me to continue with buying gold.
He also says he sells to quote-unquote white people in Kampala.
Always take to Kampala, sell to the white people. I have their numbers in my phone.
We obtained a number of one of the major buyers on behalf of the dealers in Kampala and tried to set up a meeting.
Kakati,
he was hasty and said he could not talk to us unless we had been recommended. It is almost easy to notice from our conversation that the gold trade is a very well strewn together network of individuals. The miners can only sell their gold to middlemen they know, and the middlemen can only sell to buyers known to them or recommended to them. For a product that attracts huge sums of value, one would wonder why the mystery.
It's a whole trading system that you can't trace who's doing what. There are so many people involved and very organized.
On the grand scheme of a leaderboard, this shows how the gold trade maps out. After an artisan or miner picks the gold from the ground, they sell it to the middleman, who finances its cleansing and purification. Once the middleman has obtained the gold, they can choose to take it to a local cooperative from where it is registered, and a 5% tax is placed on it. Or it could accumulate it and send it to Kampala. In Kampala, only 2 buyers, we are told, are available, and only buy from known contacts. One is under the tag name Patel and runs a franchise in Kamocha, while the other franchise is in Kololo. Report on report have provided what might be a clue to the gold industry of Uganda. From 2002 to 2006, 3 families, all Asian, ran and controlled 95% of all the gold exported out of Uganda. In their 2014 report, the UN group of experts fingered out these establishments as the dealers in gold. The 2 places are said to be owned by the 3 Indian families. Another separate OECD report pointed to the heavy involvement of key national military figures then in the trade and mining of gold from the DRC through Uganda. To verify this further, NTV has obtained and cross-checked this with a report authored by the Porter Commission, in which Ugandan army officials were named in gold trade and mining. Like all minerals, gold is meant to attract a royalty that is divided 80%, 17%, and 3% between government, local governments, and landowners respectively. However, with trading artisanal mines, where any of the trades is barely registered, it's almost impossible to get a tax.
Right now I can't give you a specific figure, but if we see the magnitude of the activity of the ASM in the different areas, and once you go to those sites, you see the kind of business that's taking place, like in areas like Busia, where there's a lot of gold being mined, but the revenues are not documented.
Perhaps an even more grim image of gold tax evasion lies in upscale trade.
It's a rich resource that could bring in tons and tons of money, and I think because the way the sector is organized is that it's very easy for loopholes to exist and leakages. So I think it's a very interesting area for so many people. I mean, there have been so many stories in the media about, all this gold, scandals and stuff. So I think where the government needs to really take interest is it could actually provide some substantial amount of money. But then again, you might find within the system also there are people who are benefiting from it in its current state, that it's not organized.
In the city, gold is revered. It forms the bedrock of luxury. In fancy watches to fancy phones, gold is a core product. There is no shortage of it in the headlines either. On the 11th of October, the Daily Monitor carried a story in which gold was named as the second biggest export of the country, right below coffee. The news came to a huge surprise. In the previous financial year, gold had only posted 782 million shillings on the export board. But now, it had gone up to 693 billion shillings, a marked 786% increment. This raises eyebrows on the potential for tax.
Are there ways, some of these sectors can be formalized in such a way that there is a lot that you can tap into? And I think gold presents that opportunity. In
another government report, the Auditor General was grumbling that the artisanal miners had denied the government tax revenue of over 4.4 billion shillings for a period of 4 years. Pushed into the trade largely by biting poverty, many of the miners look at the mineral as a source for the food on their dining tables and a revenue to pay for basic services.
I also want to become rich. If I finish this business of mining, I put up like my commercial building and make some business, as well as I educate my children.
You have good profit. You can even build a house, buy some crops there, put home there, then also look like a man.
Wemba mfuna obaayedde emitwalo gumu n'ekitunde, 15 ngulalako abaana bange ekyokulya, ezisigale ngulako uniform, pen, netubaawo.
So it helped me to pay school fees for my child, who was in P7, and even renting the land.
I think they would want to pay their taxes and also see what their taxes are doing. If the government comes out to support them, I'm sure they'll pay their taxes, because they are digging with holes and very few small equipment. How do you expect them to get enough and even pay taxation?
But with a trade that is barely organized, barely cared about, with a close-knit network on the black market, extracting a tax will remain as hard as it is to pull the precious stone out of the ground. During the course of this investigation, NTV asked URA for information on taxes levied on artisanal miners, but our interview request has not yet been responded to. The Auditor General estimates that Uganda loses 4.4 billion in untaxed gold wealth of artisanal miners. That's on average 1 billion shillings every year. Raymond Mujuni, NTV.